Okay, so I'm doing my video blog on Blair's article about blackface and minstrelsy. So the first bit of the article was talking a lot about culture and how culture works. I couldn't quite understand what the point of the of what he was saying was, but just the idea um, that American studies is a concept of culture, which he says at the beginning, but then kind of divulges from there. But it's kind of just confusing to know exactly what he's trying to say. Um, but really, what I got out of this article is the fact that like blackface and minstrel shows didn't just occur in the United States, which I did not know. That they actually traveled to places like London and South Africa and also Australia. So they weren't just, although they began in like the 1820s through the US, it wasn't just the US that practiced blackface and minstrelsy. And also there was whiteface as well. It wasn't just blackface. But they talked more about just the shows that happened, and it was really dense. All of what he was saying. He gives some examples, such as the George Washington Dixon's Coal Black Rose, which was in New York in the late 1820s, and talks about Jim Crow in that situation and the original Jim Crow and the representation, and then further on he doesn't really do a good job of explaining. I don't think it was just kind of hard. Again, like I said, it was kind of hard to understand what the point was that he was trying to get at, other than the idea that we needed to have American studies as a culture concept. Also, he talks about sorry, I'm trying to get to the page on my laptop instead of having a notebook for the first time. He talks about Mark Twain as well on page 5. He talks about it, and just like how he also had a part in minstrelsy and blackface, and how he portrayed people such as his characters that are black, and how popular literature had indirect functions. So he says on page 5, to bring out the indirect functions of the minstrel shows in relation to their white audiences, it is useful to reconstruct briefly the social implications of folklore and popular literature in New York and other major cities in 1830s and 40s. So that doesn't include Mark Twain in that. I guess the questions I would ask was really what he was meaning in the idea of having a concept of American culture, and how he went from that to blackface, and kind of how he could do a better job of connecting the two, because I feel like I was still struggling at the end of the article to find that out. And also my other question would be from it's on page 9. He says, wait, is it page 9? Sorry. It's page 9. It's page 8 technically, sorry. Blackface minstrels were created in the USA to entertain white audiences with little or no direct knowledge of the blacks being portrayed in performance. So that's not really a question for me, that's just what I believe is the thesis. But the real question I had was about Australia minstrels, and how exactly they worked, and were they similar, if not the same. And it seems like there's a lot of Western racism, and what class does it really belong to, the blackface and minstrel shows? Does it belong to middle class or to higher class? Because there seemed to be a little kind of some intertwining or contradicting remarks about it. So yeah, that's really my questions. But yeah, this article wasn't my favorite.